you, Elena. Hi, everybody. Very glad to see you there. Our live shows gathers 15,000 views each day. So after we go offline, we show this live stream to other platform users and to our partners. Yeah, and we see growing interest to our panels. I'm very happy that we continued our blockchain economic forum now online, and we increased our audience maybe 10 times. And also we started to do it maybe 10 times more frequently. So there's a 100 times greater impact from our blockchain economic forum. So I just interviewed a bit our speakers and suggest to start from Greg Heuss, managing partner of CounterPointe Ventures. So I suggest everybody to share your insights, what is going on in your portfolio companies, in startups, which you know, what are what kind of macro changes do you see in the markets as well, and also add some information about you. By the way, so Greg, let's start from your insight from your portfolio companies.
Also, we are just beginning to come down, I guess, or we're at the top of that curve and coming down, and we're a venture capital fund that's focused primarily on blockchain companies, and we've invested in 21 different companies all across the world. And as I was speaking earlier to the group about, it's a lot different when I'm talking to the CEOs that are based in Spain for obvious reasons than the ones that are in New Mexico, for example, and how they are dealing with all of this. And I've spent many of conference calls helping them on the government aid packages that are out there, the grants that are available. Some of the CEOs, a lot of it is coaching and encouragement. A lot of these CEOs are young enough not to, fortunately or unfortunately, even remember 2008 or even what happened in 2001. So to tell them kind of where they're at and where they're going to come out has been fascinating. And they're listening. They're afraid, but they are listening. And for our future investments, because we are still looking for opportunities, there's still a lot of capital in the market, and it's sitting on the sidelines right now looking for a home. My question when I go out to those companies is always, how are you guys dealing with when this happens? It's not if, it's when something like this happens again. Are you sort of proofing your company or giving yourselves other monetization plans and revenue streams that when something like this happens? More companies leaning that way, but I'm here to tell most of the entrepreneurs out there, if you haven't already thought about it, make sure that you have an answer to that question because it's going to get asked.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Christian, what is going on with your portfolio companies? What are the news here?
Yeah, so what we did basically, we checked the companies and we're discussing over the last weeks with regard to, so we made a matrix basically saying, are the companies, two basic main factors. We ask how are companies affected by cyclicity in terms of, are they, what is meaning of now? Is it what is the impact now of this cycle, obviously? And are they structurally impacted? And we see interesting things. We see companies which are obviously affected by the cyclicities or negatively, and structurally benefiting. We see even companies basically who are benefiting from this cycle. So this Zoom kind of type of companies, and also benefiting structurally. And obviously what we have been going through is basically the companies who are structurally benefiting, you have to basically back through these cycles and have to make sure that these companies come closer because they will be stronger after. And that's the main thing we have been focusing on. Obviously, the companies who are structurally also affected by this, especially, for instance, if you are in travel. Just to give one example, because travel probably will not be the same for a long period of time, so it will be affected to a certain extent negatively. You have a hard time with those companies, and having the portfolio view of this, probably you should think about what to do and how to structure the company that it adapts to this thing. The good news is that most of the companies are positively affected structurally, so they are rather on the side of benefiting from this change we see. Some of them, many of them, are obviously affected by the cycle now, and we're very much focusing on basically of supporting the companies through the cycle in terms of mainly the financing and giving them enough runway, at least up until mid of next year. We believe it will be quite binary. So the good performing companies, they will benefit from this, and they will be able to raise at very good terms. The companies in the middle segment, so to say, they will have a hard time, and the companies in the lower segment, they will not get funding, despite the fact that there's a lot of money basically to spend. So it will be kind of more. We see more binary world coming. Companies in top bucket will be benefiting big time from this. We'll see high valuations because there's so much money basically chasing after those companies.
Okay, so poorly performing companies will feel bad, right? Thank you. Guys, let's share more insights from your portfolio companies, and please be practical. So there's pains in startups, and how do you help to solve these pains? What kind of decisions, hard decisions founders should do, and give some cases, give some color. Is there anybody who wants to contribute to this portfolio review discussion?
Sure, I'm happy to chip in. So I think that one of the biggest adjustment that companies had to do, obviously, is if they had a very centralized team, they had to start working, getting used to working at home, and this can be a big adjustment, especially if someone has sorry, I just got a pop-up. Especially if people have got kids and stuff, working from home can be very difficult. But I think this is a good test for companies, because the world is moving towards more and more remote working, and there's a lot of advantages to working remotely in that you can hire the best people in the world. There's no commuting. If you look at the statistics, more and more workers are choosing to be able to work from home. So that's a good aspect. But obviously, it's a big adjustment for people. I think in terms of the cryptocurrency market specifically, it's good because we're still seeing a lot of money being invested into the market. I mean, Grayscale recently put out their report. They managed to raise 500 million in the first quarter of 2020, and the majority of that money went into Ethereum and their Bitcoin trust. So I think it's a flip of a coin, really. It depends on the company. For some companies, this has been a dream come true. If you're in a biotech, medical field, these sort of industries, then this is good for you, what's happening. And if you're a travel company, an air company, then it's a disaster. So this platform that we're on, Zoom, is now valued more than all of the US airlines combined, which says two things. It says that the airlines are doing really bad, but also says that Zoom is in a big bubble. And I'd be very careful in buying Zoom shares, because there's definitely a FOMO aspect. So now is if you get in now, you're probably getting in at some point at the peak. So yeah, I think the most innovative companies and the ones that have been able to adapt the fastest are the ones that will survive and really live through this and pass the test of time.
Guys, feel free to jump in to continue the flow of thought and discussion. We have 15 minutes before we pass to Elena to pitch competition.
So I think I'll just offer a macro perspective. So one of the broader trends that we're seeing even before COVID-19, right, was essentially in finance was big tech kind of entering the playing field. So recently, I don't know, if the audience is aware, but yesterday, in fact, right, Facebook, or Libra Foundation more specifically, announced their application to the Swiss regulator FINMA and their 2.0 version of the white paper, which basically takes on board all the feedback they had previously received around building a new stablecoin. So why is this relevant for capital raising and the broader climate? Well, it's relevant because we have to think about, and to some of the other audience participants' points, we have to think about what's going on here. So we always talk about some of the new fintechs kind of disrupting the space, right? Taking on the incumbent exchanges, the incumbent banks. However, what we're seeing in finance now is not the disruption of the fintechs, but rather the big techs. So the big techs gaining a greater and greater role. This presents some interesting challenges and opportunities, I think, in the context of what's kind of going on more broadly. This will facilitate the acceleration of digitization of finance, truly. But what we're kind of lacking, right, is the delivery mechanisms, right, the solutions that plug in to deliver these solutions to end clients specifically. So while at the same time, there's kind of we saw kind of an abundance of capital flowing into fintechs specifically focused on delivering solutions to disrupt the incumbents. I think what we're seeing now is all of the groundwork or the base infrastructure that will enable digital finance and enable these types of businesses, these kind of smaller fintechs to succeed, is being put in place. Now, again, if you're looking at like what is the kind of the macro problems existing today that are kind of happening, and I think one of them again is, given the various nations looking to distribute funding, right, to their individual citizens and businesses, we see a massive inefficiency in how governments are able to deploy or give capital to individuals, right, to redistribute wealth or to distribute aid, right, to the people that most need it. So I think there is a large, I think we have an encouraging environment where an opportunity to facilitate payments to individuals, track use of proceeds, and these types of use cases are probably an area that we should be focusing on. So we already had Zoom to satisfy video conferencing, but when it comes to actual scalable finance, right, in this way, like digital finance, truly, there really hasn't been any. There's no Zoom, right? There's no Zoom to distribute aid, right, to individual citizens and businesses. So I think, given the strategy that's come out of the European Commission around digitization, given the progress that the Libra Foundation's made, the focus on central bank digital currencies, I think this specific area would be interesting, and I think there's plenty of funding or focus that needs to go to it. If you're looking for another bright spot outside of remote working and telemedicine, right? And by the way, so I'm Michael Coletta from the London Stock Exchange, and I had the blockchain strategy part of the business. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself.
Thanks a lot. Christian, how many companies in your portfolio are, or maybe in the industry, already are cutting their staff more than half or more than 50%? How many founders made this hard decision to lay off more than 50%? What's your estimation?
Well, it really depends on which industry you are in. As mentioned before, we see basically companies even benefiting from this, so they don't need to basically cut. On the other hand, we know of companies which significantly cut, especially for the period of time. So it really depends. In our portfolio, since we have not been exposed so much to e-commerce and travel, we haven't seen these cuts. But we also have a company which is the largest soccer community globally, and there are no soccer games. Obviously, they are impacted somehow from no soccer being played. But in this case, you have to basically deal with the fact that you need to take measures for this time of the cycle. Long term, they may be benefiting from this. So that's why you have to do some temporary things, basically, to go through this. And there are state aids, there are different means, and depending on the country, which country you're operating in. But these measures obviously have to take. But as said, many companies, and this was mentioned by others as well already, will be benefiting from this, and you have to adapt to this. So and I think most of the companies we are in, they will benefit from this, because we see this trend towards more digitization. We see this trend to more decentralization, and that will create not only basically companies will benefit from this, but also create new concepts and new ideas, which we are looking at currently. And I think with regard to funding, companies which can show that they benefit from this, or even make the best out of it, they will get more funding, because there's so much money basically in funds. So much money has been raised, and this money will be spent, very sure. So that's why I don't see in our industry, in our basically VC world, we are rather on the positive side in general here, than compared to all other industries.
Okay, thank you, Alex. What are your insights? By the way, hi. Didn't see you for a long time. What do you observe in the industry? What kind of pivots startups are doing? What kind of hurdles they overcome? Any insights, please?
Sure. So thanks a lot for inviting me, Valentin. Great to see you. My name is Alex Nascimento, for the ones here that I haven't met yet. I wear two hats. I teach blockchain and business applications here at UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. So speaking here from Santa Monica, California. And then we manage a fund called 7cc Blockchain Investments. You know, I think it's nobody knows, right? And I'm sure all of us are glued to Bloomberg and other alike channels of media. And the general consent is this is all guessing, because we never seen a situation like this. So with our research at UCLA, we try to hang our hats on some kind of macroeconomic points of views. And I think it's two of those that I hang my hat on, and some of the companies that we invested in, we were advising. I think Michael Coletta pointed out a significant potential tipping point in the market, which is a potential approval of Libra, right? We're seeing a massive dilution of the dollar with this new trillions of dollar being printed, which will significantly impact the behavior of Forex markets and supply chain into this hostage environment that has been happening for decades, of companies and countries being pegged to the dollar. So in a macro scenario where we can't really point out left and right, because I don't know, maybe someone here has an insight that we don't have, but we guess we're all trying to guess what's coming up next. We feel that crypto is going to have a potential market upside, especially with more stable backed coins and central bank backed coins coming into the market. Example, Libra, example, the Chinese digital currency. These are all going to be macro swings that are going to swing in the favor of using crypto as a institutional form of transacting and investing. So our chips are in mining. Our chips are in crypto lending. We've had some new investments or late stage investments into blockchain gaming. as I guess luckily people are staying at home and playing more games. So that's working for us, but we tend to hang our hat more on macro swings than, and just to steer the conversation here into pinpoint things like Zoom. I agree with some of the speakers here. I don't see that much long-term value in Zoom aside from a behavioral result from what's happening of people working from home. Why? So then talk about WhatsApp, talk about Skype, talk about all these other platforms. But that's where we're trying to hang our hat on macroeconomic swings, geopolitical changes in the landscape.
Thank you. So, by the way, is there any news about digital dollar? Christopher Giancarlo, ex-chairman of CFTC, announced his task force group plans to move dollar into crypto. So, and then there were news that if Federal Reserve would have this digital system, they would be able to send stimulus directly to retail customers to recover from demand shock, to heal some social pain and so on. Who knows any news about digital dollar?
Yeah, so I'll give you an update on what we've been tracking that, because like I was mentioning, we're trying to figure this out like everybody else, right? And we don't think it's a pinpoint situation. We think it's more of a macro swing. So from what we've been researching, there was a conversation about passing as the COVID bill, including the digital dollar. That eventually didn't make up the bill, but the conversations were being had, and it would be issued by the Fed, right? And then currently, the Fed had what it's called Fed accounts, which are accounts with the Federal Reserve that are given to commercial banks and institutional clients. The big issue there from our perspective is two. One, the Fed has no previous experience dealing with retail clients. So then if I, as an American citizen, or many of my other countrymen here would have an account with the Fed, you're talking about 320 million new retail accounts with the Fed. And I don't think that that would be a tech implementation that the Fed could do in such a short time. So that's our belief of why it didn't go through, but the conversations are there, and it supports our theory that more governments, more central banks, more institutional clients are, and players like JP Morgan and the likes that we've been seeing are going to support crypto as a new form of financing, and potentially we'll see an upswing on Bitcoin given to that new adoption. But that's what we saw with the digital dollar. Initial conversations, but didn't make the bill.
But so this is Mike. I just want to add something. Look, we also have to be mindful. So the IMF actually, you can look for it, did a really good white paper on the impact of central bank digital currency. Again, we have to remind ourselves of some of the macro, not microeconomic impacts of this, right? So it may not be very practical to introduce, let's say for every citizen of any specific sovereign nation, the United States or any other, to introduce the concept of direct access to central bank digital currency, because of the, again, it would completely impact the ability to have fractional reserve lending, right? That I'm a bank, I receive deposits, I lend a certain percent of that out to other clients, right? And I assess the risk of that. So, again, giving direct access to central bank money may not necessarily be solving a problem. Again, this is where we get into the use case of, well, an extension of that could be. So that's where Libra, an example like Libra, comes in, where it's a portfolio of assets or a specific currency, actually, it's what they're advocating for. That is a retail distribution, because the impact on the banking sector of not having deposits has far larger economic implications, right? For lending, right? For lending, for the specifically, right, in the creation of money supply. So some of this stuff we gotta, we gotta think in economic terms and not in technology terms as far as the impact goes. But net, right? Of course, I think blockchain is a facilitator for a more efficient means to track the use of proceeds of loans, to distribute funds to people that need it, right? And as an enabler for the future of finance, absolutely, sure.
Yeah, by the way, what about legal status in the US of Libra? Carl, what are your thoughts? Would American regulators allow Libra to circulate in the US? Please switch your mic on.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is my first time on one of these calls. I don't really profess to be an expert in digital currency, but I've had the impression for some time that Americans don't really trust it. I know Bitcoin has had its problems here, but I think with something as disruptive as this, we're going to have to kind of maybe rethink some of the conventional wisdom about digital currencies and give it more of an opportunity to take hold here. So, I look forward to seeing if that might happen.
Okay, I think that Libra and the other digital currencies could be a very countercyclical products. Many organizations and industries in supply chain experience it almost full stop of their sales, and there could be cascades of defaults. So one default trigger other default. There will be banks with unpaid loans. There could be bank runs, and I think some of the countries, they wouldn't able to control all of this, and there will be money lost for retail clients in banks, and some central banks will try to print money to capitalize banks to praise to support business and people, and this could trigger inflation. So people will try to escape to some alternative financial systems. I think this is the reason why Bitcoin is not suffering from this crisis. So it's above $7,000 today, and Bitcoin is very volatile asset, and during crisis, volatile assets, they suffer the most, but not Bitcoin. So probably this is a flee from some of the national currencies into new financial systems. And by the way, I'm also thinking when kind of I see when planning transactions, I'm thinking, will this bank be solvent when the transaction will come into this bank? So maybe better transact via USDT or via cryptocurrency, and that's why I think currencies like Libra can have strong adoptions. And by the way, we are kind of developing our plan to issue Liberta. This is something we announced it in 2019 in Davos. We are just a couple of months before Facebook announced Libra, right? So I think we will launch this pretty soon. Guys, so we have a few minutes. Any other insights to add before we switch to pitch competition?
Just a few more thoughts I had on the investment side is I think entrepreneurs are going to have to consider adding countercyclical products and services to their companies. But by the same token, not every company is set up to perform in every kind of economic environment. So I think this is also an opportunity for investors to become more prepared to provide emergency funding to their portfolio companies. And at the outset of an investment, they can make that point, which will maybe help keep some of these runaway valuations that we've seen during the recently ended bull market, in rounds of investing. And I also think perhaps some investors get a certain comfort zone, perhaps with like growth companies. And this may also be a time when investors need to consider pivoting to investing in distressed companies, for instance.
Can I just add as well? I want to add a quick point. COVID-19, in my opinion, was Bitcoin's first real test, right? Because people think of it as a safe haven. And although it's not done, it's not done amazing, but it's not done awful, Bitcoin's done okay. And I think the reason is during times of uncertainty, people move their money out of volatile assets like Bitcoin and stocks, etc., into cash because they feel more comfortable holding it. So I think that, Bitcoin could have done a lot better, but also could have done a lot worse. And, I'm quite happy with the price that it's sat at and how it's performed, despite the really tough economic climate that we faced recently.
Yeah, Greg?
Yeah, not to shift gears too much, but for those of us that have portfolio companies that we're managing, and it feels like that's all I've been doing for the last month is managing these companies, I don't think we can emphasize enough. We all invested in the companies because they're smart enough, because they have a great product and they know where they're going. But really the emotional and the team side is what I see tearing the companies down. That I have the biggest fear for is how they come out of this and how they are leading their teams through this. There is so much that is going through the heads of these entrepreneurs, and unless we get in there and help them on that side, I always say it, you can coach the head as much as you want, you can't coach the heart. And if they are not leading and taking their people through a crisis like this, they're not going to make it, and we're all going to lose our money on that side. Sometimes I think we stress too much on the tactical points of how to go through the business side, and we don't think about the employees and the staff that are running it. So,
Guys, I think there will be waves of counterparty risk growing, and advantage of the decentralized system, you don't have this counterparty risk. And I think that this is the reason why Bitcoin is not volatile and is not falling with the market. So, guys, thanks a lot for joining this meeting. I'm very happy that we started to meet more frequently. Please join our next discussions. Think about your insights, your observations, share this with the entrepreneurs. The 15,000 views each day of these videos, we stream them to our VCTV widget available on any page of our site in our terminal. So, and also feel free to host an event, your event. So you can think who you want to invite. Elena can help you with this, so you can meet more often with those who and spread them.
I would like to ask all our judges to please open the evaluation forms, and I would like to ask our projects to get prepared. So the first one, I would like to invite Chrissa McFarlane, founder and CEO at Patientory. Chrissa?
Hi, hello.
Hi. So you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Chrissa McFarlane, founder and CEO of Patientory, based in Atlanta, Georgia. Our company is a digital healthcare company that currently focuses on empowering our end users with actionable insights into health and medical data via blockchain technology. Previously, when we started the company, we saw the increase in just chronic diseases. Over 40% of the US population and continuing over in the world suffer from one or more chronic illnesses. And most recently, in terms of pandemics, we saw that we did not have a viable healthcare IT infrastructure to be able to retrieve the necessary data in terms of trends, but overall to improve the efficiency and health outcomes for at-risk patient populations. So our company is the founding member of the PTOI network, HIPAA compliant blockchain network. We currently aggregate disparate, siloed health data information securely into this decentralized storage network, for which our software, DApp, that runs on this network, we're able to provide actionable insights and algorithm intelligence to our enterprise users via our web portal. We're a B2B2C business model. So these enterprises such as health systems, pharma companies, payer companies are using this to gain meaningful insights from the data that's connected to the network. And then our direct-to-consumer app is a mobile app which patients can download, start to actually collect information about themselves. We integrate not only with electronic medical records, but with IoT devices such as Fitbits, medical devices, genetic databases to provide our consumers with a complete 360 view of their health. And most recently, with COVID, we've added a feature where they can start to track their symptoms via our questionnaires. They can also list and verify their test results that ties to their identification on the blockchain network, which also enables them to know if they've been in the vicinity of someone who has symptoms or has been diagnosed with the disease. We're also current finalists for NASA's iTech Challenge, which seeks, innovative companies globally that may have a space solution, as well as solutions to, global pandemics such as COVID-19. Our current pipeline includes large pharma companies such as Novartis, health systems, insurance companies. We recently, worked pitched with Novartis in them being able to identify challenges with the psoriatic arthritis patient population and how they can use our technology to gain the insights for their providers to better manage and treat those patients. Our team, we're currently a team of 12, including our developers. Our main lead developers have experience building large scalable electronic medical record systems, has worked for Microsoft Health, building those scalable systems in terms and adding in the machine learning and analytics experience. Combined, we have over 40 years experience building healthcare IT software. Prior to starting Patientory, I built a telemedicine company and was in health IT and EMR implementation, where I saw the challenges of just being able to access siloed data information. And I currently sit on the interoperability committee for Heuss, which is the largest healthcare IT global organization. We differ from companies in the space that are building, decentralized solutions or have some sort of population health management solution. In the case that, our system has recently been integrated in over 10,000 hospitals in the United States via the network and our partnerships, which we announced in the next couple of weeks. But we have patented over 13 patented proprietary patents that gives us an edge in how we're able to create the machine learning for identifying these disparate types of data on the network. We're raising a seed round. We've just started raising a seed round about 3 weeks ago. Our first investors include RGA Ventures, which is a global company who's at the forefront of innovative technologies. We're also one of their companies that participated in the Oregon Enterprise Blockchain Venture Studio first enterprise blockchain venture studio in the US. We're raising 5.3 million as a seed round to be able to scale up our team in terms of business development and sales and marketing to meet those pipeline relationships that we have and the needs of those customers, as well as to expand our module classes to scale from 2 to 8 chronic diseases and also incorporate pandemics response.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask Stephen Thomas, founder at Midley, to please join us. Hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Hello. So you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Great. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hello, all. How are you? It was nice to have a session earlier before. So what's Midley? We want to change the way you shop, you sell, and you socialize. So what is Midley all about? So I want to just tell you a small story what happened back in 2017 when I was an Airbnb host. There was a guy called Mohammed. He came from Saudi Arabia. So he was shipped into Bahrain. He wanted to buy stuff for his new place that he was looking out for. So he used to go out looking at Google to the shops, but he will not find what he needed. So eventually he went to get for recommendation from his friends, from his colleagues, and then he went and got all the things. So that was quite a striking thing. Like, why would you not find something which is near you? You cannot be visible. So many shops were not even visible. You don't know if they sold these items. So we started working on it. So we thought, okay, a mere e-commerce will not be enough. There are a lot of e-commerces and future will have a lot of them. So we categorize the problems. What are they? No online option currently exists to search and buy from a local store or brand within the city. And you cannot just get it immediately if you want it. On-demand delivery is missing for these kind of products, except food. No digital platform exists like for sellers, influencers, buyers, if they have to connect and grow to promote a two-way digital engagement. That's kind of missing. And imagine a small business owner having to run a whole website, manage inventory, and do the product delivery, integrate it. That's quite a hassle for him. So current market solutions, we believe, are incomplete. So what's the solution? So in the age of influence, we developed a web and mobile platform with a mix of Instagram and Amazon, where users can search for products, stores, posts, lists, check out what's in store. A seller can display what's in store and be visible. You could like a product, you could share, you could comment even without buying. So we bought likes to e-commerce. And then you can become an influencer. And also you can take the help of influencers, sell for you. So because what we believe with all the interviews we've had is it's not just about selling your products, it's also about the memories and stories they create. So is there a big enough market? Of course, in the GCSA, we see a market of 253.2 billion and the retail growth forecast of CAGR 18% as per the experts. But how do you want to start? You want to start with a small market, target market value is 2.2 billion, Bahrain, and then move on to the other markets. So what's a revenue model? How do we make money? So we'll charge sellers a 10% marketplace commission fee and a subscription fee between $26 and $100, depends on the size of the enterprise. So we have a tiered approach. And we see that there's a huge future potential for advertising, promotion, because we look at post-monetization, quality user content, because it's not only e-commerce, it's social and e-commerce. Market validation again for the e-commerce. So as per the experts, we believe that the market is estimated to reach around 28.5 billion, again, a CAGR of 28%. But the current e-commerce penetration of retail in the GCC, which is the Middle East here, is only 3% as compared to other advanced economies like US, UK, France, Germany, which are around 14 to 16%. So clearly there is a gap in the market, and we definitely see a market in this gap. Market facts about GCSA, population 54 million, and the striking thing is that 40% of the population, they are millennials. And millennials really, like 60% of them already do online purchases for clothes and fashion, and 55% of them for electronics. Okay, who are our competitors? Marketplace. eBay, Amazon, Souk, AliExpress, and Noon.com. Yes, but how are we different from them? We are a local e-commerce platform for retailers, private labels, and influencers. We act as a local promotion channel for local shops. We are omni-channel. Yes, we have a solution for omni-channel. Seller rating review, everyone provides it. We also have a built-in loyalty program, which would help small and medium enterprises to retain their customers. And apart from that, we have the social features, like I said, like, comment, share, and chat. So this is the business model, basically, key partners. We need logistics, seller network, payment gateway provider, activities, like we said, web and mobile, sales and marketing, content management. What is our value proposition? We say you have convenience. You can also look for a local search, seller rating, curated content, social buying. The product, discover items, post stores list, follow and explore influencers, stores, shop the product, easy checkout, share what you just purchased, or comment on the product. How does the finances work out? We expect to be cash positive in the year 4 of our operations with a projected IRR of 30%. Investment required, we've already invested around 200,000. We've got a first investor in Roadshow last October. And the capital requirement is 1.4 million though, but we need another 100K to just go beta. And we're looking at raising 1.4 million at least with an exit IRR of 30% and 25 to 30x. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steven. And I'm inviting Michael Antwi, founder and CEO at Martian Network. Hello, Michael. We can see your pitch deck. You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead. Michael, for some reason we cannot hear you. Could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry.
And let's start from the beginning.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. Welcome to Martian Network. We're basically focused on our goal is to we are an entertainment decentralized entertainment platform, and we are focusing in the initial phase on video streaming. Our goal is to start in Africa and start with Ethiopia. Okay. So that being said, that we're a decentralized peer-to-peer application where we want to make sure that people are in control of their own content and own distribution. And our vision is called PICO, passion, ideas, creativity, and opportunities. We want to make sure that we can bring people together with the same elements and make sure that they can share their content. A problem that we saw in the market is that in Africa, in this case, is that 60% is going to the distributors, lack of transparency of the revenue, piracy of the film content, and of course, if it comes to websites, moving on a website is making sure that hackers can hijack your content. And also for the viewers, it's high bandwidth costs. Also, they're not competitive fees. Of course, low quality, and there's also limited choice of content. And also regarding to the Ethiopian film data, what does it have in common? If you look at the annual revenue, number of films produced, and level of piracy, there's no data. So solution is with that being said, is having a blockchain, having a platform that utilizes the blockchain, and where it makes sure that there's transparency on the platform, and also with that being said, also have help from the law or from the government by reinforcing the law. Also, when it comes to pirating your content, we already have done that so far. We have already spoken to the Film Association in Ethiopia, and we're going to sit in a few months to talk about regulations. Also for the viewers, getting reward for their for watching content, and also reviewing content, and also having access to a larger assortment of movies, and also voting for which movie they like. Looking into the global market size of entertainment is 69.8 billion, and also video streaming is 124.75 billion. Looking into the market validation in Ethiopia, there are 130 million Ethiopians. The age is 19, and the median age is 19, so it's a young population. They like content. 20 million of those people are watching, are internet users, and 6 million are watching video content every day. Basically, if you look into what they're watching, they mostly watch it on YouTube. The business model, we are going to use TVOD, so transactional video on demand, pay-per-view, and also looking into AVOD, advertising video on demand. For the first one, it's common like Amazon TV or Apple TV, and for AVOD, we're using the mechanism of YouTube that you can watch content based on advertising. Payment method, we have an ERC20 token. We also plan to have an IEO. With that being said, we want to utilize the Martian token on our platform to incentivize content creators, so that the gap between content creator and users is coming more together. Looking into mobile money, where you can also see that 80% of Africa is using mobile money, and we want to use credit systems and bank transfer also with the help of Paxful. That's a marketplace for where you can buy Bitcoins or buy credit with the help of Amazon or iTunes credits. What we want to do is we take 25% of the commission. Looking into the projection, we think that the first year we can capture the market, the available market, because the market isn't that big, the film market. There's a 0.5%. The average fee is around $2, and we have projected that we would capture the market in 2023 with 10 million. Comes to the revenue in Ethiopia, only in Ethiopia. The alpha version is the MVP. It will be a desktop version and a mobile version, and also it will be in Amharic and English. Then we're coming to the product with a good movie page. And here's by also the transparent, the transparency with the distributed ledger. So the team, myself, I'm ambassador for the Cardano Foundation, and also founder and CEO of Martian Network. Thereby, we have now 2 UX designers and also 1 full stack developer. So that is our team at this moment. Our advisors are a lot of people of good content creators in Nigeria who gave us good advice. And one of those film directors as well has his film Hakunde on Netflix as well.
Thank you, Michael. Dear judges, could you please save your evaluation forms so that I get your scores? And I would like to start with Alex Nascimento. Alex, could you please share your feedback as the investor with our projects and with our audience, please?
Yeah, I think that the projects were quite interesting. I enjoyed the one of the telemedicine. There's a lot of investments going into that space, particularly now. Yesterday, there was a note on Bloomberg about this telemedicine company that just raised 50 million. So good timing there, and I think that the seed round is of equitable size. I was wondering, you have 12 people staff. How are you affording these costs at this moment? Is this with your RGA capital?
Yeah, so we were initially one of the early companies that did a token sale. So we've been receiving grants from our foundation from that. back in 2017. So for the network that's up and running and integrated in over 10,000 hospitals, we had received over 7 million from that. So it is an active cryptocurrency that regulates the storage and the access to private health data on the network.
What is the name of the cryptocurrency? What is the ticker?
It's PTOY, PTOY, Patientory.
PTOY.
That's the ticker, yeah.
And where did you guys issue that out of? Which jurisdiction?
Gibraltar.
Well, all right, fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Carl, could you please share your feedback with our audience?
Sure. I had some feedback for Martian. It's clearly very focused on the African market and Ethiopia in particular. Especially when you put up the interface, it looked very much like Netflix and Amazon Prime. And I'm just curious how you decided to build your own network as opposed to try to court Amazon or Netflix or one of these other large companies to help sell them content and educate them on the value of the Ethiopian and African market.
So basically, we have. So indeed, looking into your question, we see that Netflix or an Amazon isn't yet in that market. So we saw also a gap in that we as entertainment platform we could establish there, and from there on be the first there to really structure this film market, because it's still upcoming, and also knowing that Ethiopia is the second largest distributor in Africa regarding to films. Nigeria is the first one. So knowing that, having that in mind, and knowing having a good structure coming there to Ethiopia is only promising for us to be the first and really establish that.
Is part of your exit strategy perhaps selling the company at some point to one of these larger competitors, or are you really expecting to compete head on with them?
I don't think that looking from now, we don't think that we would have competitors. Of course, regarding to the industry evolving, also looking into of course bandwidth of infrastructure of bandwidth, and so that means that looking into that space, yes, I think that it would be a possibility that they will come. But for now, I'm talking about now and 2 years from now, that will be difficult, because Ethio Telecom is the main telecom who is having the monopoly at this moment. So I won't see any other telecom company coming with for instance, a Netflix or Amazon or maybe a Canal Plus in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Christian, could you please share your feedback?
Yes, I have to do so. Interesting that all three projects are basically kind of benefiting from the current situation, benefit from both the trend that social distancing, buying more from home, basically being more active at home. So all three are totally fitting into this trend, which I think will continue. I think Patientory obviously is addressing a very large market and need on a global scale. I wonder whether really blockchain is needed for that, or why blockchain here so this is something I would question, and how you would compare also to other companies being in that segment, who are also trying to basically collect data and give advice. There are many out there, like many remote platforms who give remote basically telemedicine and give feedback to patients. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that. Why this is blockchain? How do you differentiate from
Yeah, I mean, that's the blockchain is the biggest differentiator, because right now all those companies are working in silos, and we on our network focus on the interoperability. So different electronic medical record systems that don't talk to each other, such as Epic and Cerner. Being able to readily take that information, we do both push and pull back into those systems, which those companies currently do not do. And then our focus is on social and economic determinants of health, capturing it not only from these legacy infrastructure systems, but as I mentioned earlier, we integrate wearable devices, IoT devices to create a full 360 view of the patient. So it's a bill, and to do that securely, as well with HIPAA compliance. So I don't know if the Cures Act, which was launched policy that was created last month, actually, made it a policy and requirement for hospitals to provide third-party endpoints to this data, which they did not before, for opening up that to actual individuals. So that was one of the biggest pain points in telemedicine platforms today. Patients not even having readily accessible ownership of their own data.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Greg to please share your feedback.
Sure. Thank you, guys, for presenting. Overall, great job. I think there's many benefits to what each of you are doing. I guess overall, I'll sort of reiterate what the last panelist was speaking about. I didn't see, and of course, you had a short time to present, but the real need for blockchain. I mean, I see that so many times that we sort of try to cram a business idea and add blockchain onto it. Oftentimes, you're more successful just going out and building the business and then seeing if it does apply at the end. Certainly, the token side on Martian, I can understand and appreciate that. The one thing that I would say overall with all three companies, I didn't see, and maybe I missed it, was what's your overall valuation? I saw what you're trying to raise, but I don't know what the value is and where you're coming from. Kudos to the healthcare company for coming up with the COVID solution. I thought that was great. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. It's those companies that can figure out a solution for that. So nice work on that. On Midley, for what you guys are doing, I think your biggest hurdle is going to be, because we've seen this 100 times, right? At least, of companies that are trying to address the market that you're looking at. And that market, if you can figure it out, I think is huge. There's Uber Eats and everything else for the food side, but for the retail side, you're right, there isn't anything there. The key is going to be how much money is it going to take you to build that base of businesses and of customers at the same time. And when I look at opportunities, whenever I see two distinct customer bases that you're trying to build at the same time, it's very difficult. So it might be opportunistic on your side to look at one side or the other and try to build it from there to lead in to the rest of them. I'm not sure on Martian what problem you're solving. I don't know the geographic area that well to know if there's just no other competition. From what I can see, again, not knowing that space wholly, the 25% commission seems to me extremely high. So I don't know how that one is justified. And I'm sorry, I'm scattering all over the board as I'm looking at my notes. But those are some of the feedback. But overall, nice job. But that's generally where I'm at with you guys. And I'm happy to share more offline if you'd care to hear the feedback.
Thank you, Greg. Ibrahim? I think we just lost him. Okay, Michael, could you please be the next one?
Hi, yes. Okay, so I'll just go in the order of the pitches. Yeah, so Patientory, actually I've had some, even though I work for the London Stock Exchange Group, I spent a few years doing some work on a big data healthcare startup that didn't go anywhere, but so I can totally appreciate it. So I thought the value proposition was excellent. The competitor map that you had laid out was fantastic. Seizing the opportunity given the current COVID environment, and especially on the fact that you've already focused on HIPAA compliance and sharing health data, which I know are immensely challenging. One thing that I didn't fully understand, and I think this applies uniformly to most of them, but you know, again, it's understanding how you've built this network effect that you have now, because that's one of, I mean, that's one of the biggest challenges with any of this, but especially in the healthcare. So how do you have the, how have you guys built, for some of the examples that you've given, how were you able to kind of get Novartis right on board, and how are you able to establish trust, right, for them to share their data with you, right? Because that's one of the most difficult pieces. That was my biggest question for you guys. But other than that, I thought the, you know, super timely, fantastic app, great opportunity set. I mean, in the US and pretty much in any large healthcare system. But yeah, can you just quickly say how you got some of these big players on board?
Yeah, so we've been, you know, part of our you know, we have we're a startup health portfolio company. We have a lot of partnerships established already that has introduced us to Novartis, and Novartis has also come up with these challenges in terms of innovative solutions to help, you know, with the current problems that they face. And a part of it is also our pitch with the network. You know, we don't store any of the data. We don't, as an entity, so Novartis participates in this global network where they can create trust with other entities that are sharing their data. So we serve as that middle party broker, and you know, we're able to de-risk ourselves from that standpoint to make them comfortable in knowing that, okay, this is a network that's housed on their systems, and we're enabling them and providing that intelligence for their organization.
Okay, yeah, excellent work. Okay, so the next one, Midley. Yeah, so the thing that I had, the bit of feedback that I had again goes to network effect, but specifically in the competitive environment, right? So you think about, because I think a lot about what I've seen in other emerging markets as well, where oftentimes the Chinese FinTech comes in to provide the solutions, right? So I've seen this with, for example, Uber with their DD, right? That comes into some of, I saw it in Costa Rica as an example. How are you guys able to establish that? Because you really depend on that, having that engaged audience. So, you know, usually that comes through a channel, right? Like an app, like a WhatsApp, a WeChat, an Alipay, you know, something like that, a social media platform. So I didn't quite understand how you build that network effect. I saw the need, the market need. Then I also questioned a little bit this 10% fee model. Seems high, but I don't know. I mean, I know what they charge for things like Uber Eats, where it's like 35%, but that's food. It's very different. So I was kind of questioning the competitive market, because I would see it as, hey, if I'm a big Chinese player or an existing e-commerce player, I can come in here and just, you know, just scale my solution in this market. So maybe if you could talk a little bit about how you plan to kind of scale a network effect and any, you know,
Sure.
to get that captured audience.
Well, like it's a chicken and egg concept, basically, e-commerce, you have buyers and sellers. So we introduce influencers. So what happens when we have these influencers, they will get sellers for us because they will get paid. So when an influencer sells for a seller, influencer will benefit. So that's how we positioned it. And when influencers drive sales, they can post it on Instagram, Facebook with a code, and you are directed to Midley marketplace, and the items are sold. So the seller benefits, the influencer benefits here. So that's how it is done. And then what we thought is a win-win situation. So for example, today, the GDP contribution from SME to the Middle East economy is 65, 70% as compared to 90% in other economies. So the small retailers today do not really have a portal where they could go out and sell, because you know, as per Google survey, 80% of the searches are locally oriented. So, but there is nothing that really helps them. So we went and met a lot of sellers. They were planning to open another shop at a mall by paying a rent of around, say, $3,000 to $4,000 just to attract more customers. So, so these are the kind of people really we want to reach out to. And in Instagram, when you sell, I mean, this is something that we got from the market. When you sell on Instagram, you receive an order. Okay, I want to buy this maroon top, but maroon top, red color, because the inventory is not linked. So it becomes really crazy for them to manage over WhatsApp and Excel, and deliveries are missed, and their whole life becomes really complicated. And they cannot really afford to dedicate a person for WhatsApp and managing it. So this is not the ease of management. It's a great marketing platform. Instagram is, of course, the best. But what it does is that does not help the sellers to really sell it in a much more relaxed manner. So we have integrated delivery. So once you receive an order, it's taken care. So you know your customers, KYC, which the bank started to say, but what we have is that you know your friends and your group of friends. So it's kind of a community. It's kind of a community where everyone wins. So this is what we got from the market.
Right. No, I understand. I'm just saying, like, you know, if I mean, it's a similar point, right? Again, it's like if I'm even like something like Gojek or Alipay or WeChat or Amazon, and I come in because Amazon has tons of local sellers. So I have a scalable business model. I have low margins. I know how to do logistics. I can just come in and destroy that market, right, competitively. So that's the only thing I think about with some
You're
of those.
right. I mean, yeah,
they
those
already
are
bring
the
the
risks.
network effect. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm just going to move on to Martian. Yeah, so I was Googling the Ethiopian market just in the background. Again here, you know, how many incumbent streaming services are there in Ethiopia? Isn't there already an established, you know, existing streaming services? And I don't know, for the coin piece, I suppose blockchain's fine, but you know, again, I don't know if it's the decentralized model really is something you need. So I didn't really understand the market opportunity. Are you looking at distributing like all types of streaming content that would readily be available on the equivalent of a Netflix, for example, or like what's your target market there? And isn't it up to the incumbent studios, right, to kind of figure out the distribution channels, and don't they have attractive options already? So I was struggling to find that value prop.
Yeah, so basically, what I also mentioned is that when it comes to the content that they have, they go to a distributor, they launch, they go to the distributor. Distributor makes a contract, and what we have seen so far is that they get like 60 to 80%. The distributors are holding that back, and they only get like 20%, and then only have that 20% to make a new movie. But that's not even reasonable, because that is way that won't even happen to make a new movie. So there's where they are lost. To come back to the question, could you repeat the second one?
Yeah, so it's just more about the who are you working? So thinking about it, was it more was the content that you were looking to distribute just specific to Ethiopia, or was it the same kind of content that you would find on Netflix? So that kind of big Hollywood.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So yeah, who's the target here?
Yeah, so the target is basically basically everybody in Ethiopia, because the problem what we also have seen so far is that they don't really have a platform. Looking into, because I've been to several film festivals where new content creators are coming with a new movie, that they only can pitch onto the film festival, but they don't have a platform where they can show to the people and make revenue out of that. So that is where the part where we also saw a gap, that the content creators are lost. And what happens then mostly is that they go to YouTube. They call it the graveyard of content, and then from there, yeah. So yeah.
So it's local content creation. So it's Ethiopian content creation.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Since we have Marshall on Marshall Network on the hook here, I have a quick question. Are you building it on the Cardano network?
No. We're still searching for because we're now an ERC20 token, but we're searching for a more scalable platform where we can do it. Because for instance, we have looked into EOS, but the RAM resources are not making it possible for us to putting it on EOS. So it would be a platform such as TRX that we could build it on. So we're still in thinking of, and also waiting also for Cardano where they're coming up, because they also have scalable solutions to that as well.
And did you ever thought about searching for funding with Tron or the EOS Foundation?
Yes, I have definitely. I have done it in the beginning. I'm talking about 2017 even. I have been also in the. I've even started a community in on Tron, with Ron for the Dutch community. I'm basically doing that on Telegram still for them. But with that being said, yeah, you make how you say that agreements with them, and then you send out your business plan, and then after a while you don't hear anything. So yeah, that's how it went basically for us. So yeah, we made agreements. We made they showed us what kind of funding they would give us, but at the end,
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. So I received this course from our judges, and we have a clear winner, and this is Chrissa McFarlane from Patientory. Congratulations, Chrissa. And I would like to thank all our judges and
Thank
our
you.
participants.
And
Thank
this
you.
is what we didn't discuss, and maybe it is not visible in the paper that I've shared with you, Chrissa, because
All right. Thank you. Thanks to our project.
Thank you.
And I would like to ask Valentin Preobrazhensky to share his feedback and to close the event.
Elena, thank you. Guys, thanks a lot for this insightful event. I encourage you to join our next events, share ideas and insights how to adopt to the new reality, how to pivot, how to find growth model to meet this new online world. Have a great day. See you, some of them next time. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.